Good morning, everybody. Jay Womack, founder and CEO of Infinity Workforce Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our webinar will begin in just a few minutes. I appreciate y'all sitting on hold. While we're here waiting for everybody to jump on, I want to give a special shout out to our existing clients that are here with us today. You are proving to your entire workforce that safety is your number one concern, it's your number one priority, and we appreciate that because we are very, very good at delivering training for safety, for orientation, for ongoing corrective action, and you obviously have taken the jump into the company right now and you're using it, you're saying that your people are valuable to you, and that's exactly what we want, that's what you want, that's what your people want to hear. So we do have all the answers. We know exactly what we're doing in web-based training. We've been doing this for 15 years, but I have a special offer today for our prospects that show up. We'd like to offer you a 30-day free trial using our system completely. See what it's all about. See if you like using something like this. You know, remote training has jumped to the forefront of the world. In the last 90 days, the world has shifted, it's changed. Remote training, we are the experts. We know more about remote training than virtually anybody in the entire, world, universe. So I want to offer the 30-day free trial. Time offer is limited. Yeah, we can't make this go on forever. I wish we could. I'm even going to throw in a CSR rep, a client service rep that can make this thing hum for you, get user activity up on the system, because that's the key, get your people to use the system. I don't care how many bells and whistles you've got, if they're not going to use it, it's not going to have an impact for your company. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. We want to see your top line and bottom line improve. We want to see your safety record improve. That's what we do, and we do that better than anybody out there. Thanks for sticking with me. In the meantime, it's what you came for, it's the webinar. So Mark, if you're ready, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you again, Jay, for that 30-day offer. I would strongly recommend that you go ahead and accept Jay's offer. Just as a quick overview, the potential to improve crash frequency of 20% is readily available, 80% reduction in violations. You can reduce training costs by 50%. So if you just want to go ahead and accept Jay's offer, click yes here on this poll question, and we'll get right back with you. I see a few yeses coming in. That's a good thing. So the other thing, of course, documentation on lawsuits that we're all is day to day in everyone's lives. And the fact is, remote training can save thousands of lives. So I also want to make sure Jay's commitment to our industry is unsurpassed. I've known Jay since 1999. We talked this morning and relived a few old stories of back in the 90s, but his commitment to the industry is unsurpassed, and we thank him very much for that. So today, let's get on with our topic. Today is intersections. Expect the unexpected. It's clearly an emerging issue that we're all need to be involved in, whether it's training, your driving staff, your non-driving staff, everybody. It's clearly an emerging issue. We do have a quick dash cam to illustrate expect the unexpected and what can happen at an intersection. So Colin, if you could show us that. Whoops. That's pretty self-explanatory. You've got the green light. You edge out into the intersection and get T-boned. So that's the unexpected that can certainly happen at any given time to any of us, including our commercial trucks at any intersections. So that's just kind of set the tone of what we see on a regular basis today. My name is Mark Rhea. I've spent the last 35 years with Frozen Food Express here in Dallas, Texas, and I've seen and been involved in any number of intersection-related crashes, T-bones, tail swings, squeezes, rear ends, you name it. They are real, and they are now becoming an emerging issue And I urge you to share the information that we cover today with your driving staff and your non-driving staff to increase awareness. Expect the unexpected. Intersection-related accidents can be prevented. And I'm very proud to introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Dan O'Brien from the insurance industry, who sees the claims up close and personal, not only from intersections, but everywhere. But today, specifically, we're going to talk about intersections. Mr. O'Brien is a native of West Texas, spent the last 25 years in the insurance risk assessment, and currently serves as loss control manager for Fundamental Underwriters. He specializes in truck risk and insurance issues and is a certified insurance counselor. We're very proud to have him today to discuss what this emerging issue is. So if we can, just to get started, Dan, before we get into the formal presentation, as a loss control professional that represents the insurance industry side, I know you've seen a lot of trucking operations, some good, some maybe needing some TLC. And when you make an assessment, I know you look at tangible things such as loss control, loss runs, equipment, miles, driver MVRs. But my question is, do you consider culture or defendability when you are making a risk assessment?
Absolutely. Culture is primary. That's one of the most important things we look at. And as a part of their culture, do they have the mechanisms in place, the controls in place to help us defend them? In other words, when you say defendability, when a claim, an accident is litigated, the cost of that claim is almost directly related to how well we can defend our customers. So in other words, do they have proper training in place? Do they hold drivers accountable? Do they know kind of what's going on? And because all those things are discoverable. If a claim gets litigated, and if it's a bad enough claim, the difference between a claim that we could settle for $50,000 could be a $1 million claim if you had a driver that had been involved in a similar accident and received no training or progressive discipline or corrective action. So, yeah, it's huge.
It would be fair to say that not all intersection crashes are, the critical factor is not always directed toward the commercial truck. And if it's not, you got to be able to defend yourself. And again, I'm going back to that video we just watched. Guy gets a green light, he pulls out there, wham, and that wasn't a commercial vehicle, but they could certainly claim it's his fault if he's got some loose ends in his operation. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. Well, and on the other side, the truck that hit him. You think about that guy, the driver of that truck. Let's say he had been involved in similar accidents in the past, and there had been no post-accident training, no effort to help that driver or weed him out. A defense attorney, plaintiff attorney, could basically say, why is this guy still driving? What did you do to prevent this from happening again?
That's absolutely true. Okay, let's go to the next. Let's talk a little bit more about intersection crashes. If we can go to the next slide here, truck crashes. Out of the universe of truck crashes, today we want to zero in on intersections. So I'd like to ask you from a insurance claims point of view that sees the results, the dollars that go out in claims. Do you see intersections crashes as an emerging issue?
Definitely. We've seen an increase in the number of intersection claims related to causes of accidents in total. There has been an uptick in intersection types of claims. some people may quantify them or call them failure to yield claims, but when we drill it down, we can see specifically that intersections are an emerging accident number, and it's very noticeable.
Well, let me ask, do we got a poll question here on this? I think we've got a poll question on awareness training for intersections. Yeah, here it is. Do you provide awareness training for intersections? Yes or no? And if so, in what format? I guess the question I would have, if it is an emerging issue, is awareness training, could it potentially prevent certain intersection crashes?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I'm a firm believer in driver training as a preventative measure to prevent, to keep accidents from happening. It's proven that trucking companies that provide top-notch training, they can reduce the number of accidents. And so I think if you had something specific for intersections, you could expect some improvement. And it absolutely is, something I would recommend.
So just the fact, if we can communicate to our professional drivers, when you approach an intersection, you get your radars up. This is a danger zone. There's all kinds of things going on with everybody coming and going from all angles. Right. You need to pay attention ×2 when you're navigating through an intersection.
Absolutely. There's so much that can happen in an intersection, and everything is documented. There's cameras everywhere.
There's cameras everywhere. Yeah.
There's just it's fraught with potential problems. You have people that may stop too fast in front of you. People that will pull out, ignore their the right of way, and then the factors that we can get into about distraction, all that stuff. It's just
okay.
There's so much potential problems when you enter an intersection.
Right. Well, let's take a look at it. Most people are using online training. That's a good thing. Satellite messages, everybody's doing some intersection awareness training. And of course, flyers and posters are good, but online training of those. Dan, do you want to comment on the most effective, or maybe from a claims insurance point of view, what you would recommend?
Well, online training is, the latest in technology is obviously the way to go. Online training, I think, is more effective because, especially if you have a way to document that training, if you have an opportunity to get it out to all of your drivers, and if you have multiple terminals or you have drivers that are spread across the United States, it's the most concise way to get your message out, probably the best way to get training out. And we've seen, actually I talked to a potential customer yesterday that they have 2 driver safety meetings a year. They do them all in person. They try to get their drivers together, which is a chore, as everybody knows. But because of the pandemic, they haven't been doing that. So basically, for the past 8 months or 9 months, they provided no training to the drivers. And that's just not, that's just not acceptable. We're going to probably pass. We're probably going to walk away from this opportunity. If they had online training, that'd be something we probably would have considered.
Gotcha. Okay, well let's go on to the next slide here. I think we've pretty much made the determination that if we can get the slide, please. So the question, if we could get, we got the poll question closed, please. Okay, let's just keep going. So the question's why? What is triggering? What's triggering these intersection crashes as an emerging issue? You want to go into some of the things you're seeing?
Well, as you can see from the slide, I mean, the uptick the reason why we're seeing more intersection claims is I think it's mostly related to distracted driving. I mean, smartphones obviously they've been around for quite a while now, but I think people are becoming more and more addicted to them. But there are all types of distractions. You see a hamburger on the slide there, people eating, people looking at themselves in the mirror. But distracted driving is, I think, probably related to the increase in this type of accident. Some of the other traditional factors are speed, failure to control your speed as you enter an intersection. Impaired driving, which can include fatigue and drinking and of course marijuana usage. And that's probably, to be honest with you, I don't know this, I don't have any data to support this, but I believe there's an increase in marijuana usage that probably can also be related to the recent uptick in intersection accidents.
Yes, I can tell you there is an increase in just impaired driving, and that certainly compounds the problem. Basically, people aren't paying attention. We got the commercial drivers, of course, but we also have the motoring public, and generally speaking, they're distracted or not paying attention or impaired or all the above.
Absolutely.
So as a commercial professional driver, you need to take that into consideration as you navigate through an intersection. It's not me, it's everybody else.
No doubt about it. No doubt.
Another complication, and I know there's a lot of confusion on the blinking yellow arrow, not the blinking yellow, but the blinking yellow arrow. Right. You want to comment on that as a new traffic control device?
Yeah, we're seeing more of those, and I think there's a lot of confusion about maybe what it means. You think that it's something that people would understand, but I think it plays into the confusion. And as you enter an intersection like that, if it's a controlled intersection, then you have to be expecting the worst. And I think that gives people a false sense of security sometimes. I noticed the night driving, that is something, and if you look at that, 30% of the miles are done at night, but 50% of fatalities. That's something that in the industry we're well aware of. Nighttime driving is much riskier. Obviously, it affects the driver's ability to see. It is obscured, but it's also fatigue driving often. We see a lot of accidents that occur at nighttime, a much disproportionate amount.
So all of these contributing factors are things that we could get out to our driving staff and our driver support staff through remote learning assignments. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. And again, one of the things is intersections. There's just hasn't historically been as much material as you've seen a lot of specific stuff recently on distracted driving, avoiding lane change accidents, rear ends, things like that. But there's just not as much out there about intersections. It's a great area to focus on.
Let's go to the next slide, please. Well, let's talk about the claim side of this. What are you seeing relative to dollars and percentages of claims that are intersection related?
Yeah, and this is our proprietary information. This is our specific data. But what we've seen in the last 2 years, we've paid out about $16 million in incurred losses. I was shocked as I looked through this that intersection accidents contribute to about 10% total in the numbers of those accidents and claims, which that's a significant amount. That's surprising. Again, I think it's a result of those things that we talked about. The distracted driving, the impaired driving, those kind of things are increasing that number. But I think what was even more surprising to me and kind of more telling is that, of that $16 million plus in incurred losses that we paid out, about 25% of those dollars are related to intersection accidents. So what it tells you is that these claims are more expensive. Not only they're increasing, they're more expensive, more dangerous, more likely to create a bodily injury. And those are the kind of things that really impact your loss run, impact your insurability, if you will, because insurance companies, we do look at a lot of things, but your loss run is if we're looking at a potential new customer, it's the first thing we look at, right? So, and we look at the dollars, the incurred dollar amount. If you don't know what incurred dollars are, that's basically the paid losses and then the expected final amount. In other words, it's pay plus reserves. So if you understand what in a claim, you've got the paid dollars and the reserve dollars together, are the incurred loss dollars, and that's what we look at. So again, this when I looked at this data, it jumped out at me because again, a larger percentage of accidents occur at intersections than I expected, and those accidents are just often more serious or dangerous, larger claims.
Well, those are big numbers, and again, getting back to your earlier answer on culture, if you're going in to do a risk assessment on a renewal, or maybe just making a decision to write somebody's insurance or not, and they are aware that intersection crashes are on the increase, and they represent 25% of claims, and what we're doing about it is informing and training our drivers. I would think that would encourage you to look at this risk as manageable. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. Yeah. When I'm talking to a potential customer, many of you guys out there have probably been through this experience. You get a phone call or a visit from a loss control consultant, and you go through the process. A big component of that is driver training. What do you provide for your drivers? How are you doing it? Is it organized? Do you keep good records? Do you use it effectively? I mean, there's three pieces to that driver training. There's the onboarding, for new hires. Then you've got just the regular driver training that you provide training, hopefully at least on a monthly basis. And the final piece is the post-accident training. That's the thing that kind of sets from my eyes the really good accounts from the less than good accounts. Is, are they providing training after the accident? Are they providing training to drivers that have CSA violations, moving violations, and even most importantly, accidents?
So corrective action, some, and again, with the
some documented proof that they've done something to try to correct that behavior, that they've tried to teach and educate the driver.
That can be done, can't it?
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Certainly can be done. So, okay, let's go to the next slide then. You've got me convinced that the danger zones are out there, and they're called intersections. We've talked a little bit about awareness and training. I know there's a lot of technology, cameras. You want to provide any insight on technology, routing software, cameras, and how that plays into the risk assessment?
Sure. I'm a big believer in using whatever technology is out there that's available to help you. If you had the ability to avoid certain intersections that have a notorious, just notoriously bad, and there are studies out there which identify the worst intersections in America. That data is out there. And if you have the ability to route your driver away from those intersections, then I think that's can be very effective. technology, again, it touches all these different things. I see on one of the bullet points is cameras. Cameras are affecting the way we manage claims. Everything is documented. If you have a dash cam, more often than not, I think it's a benefit. It helps you. It helps us deny claims. Our claims adjusters are denying 7 to 8 claims a month that they would have probably had to pay in the past. So anything that you can use in the whole realm of technology to avoid accidents, to prepare your drivers for what's coming ahead, and then also to document is a positive from our perspective.
Okay, so yeah, routing software that can minimize those left turns coming out of intersections is that less number of left turns to take, which can ultimately improve your loss ratio. So that all makes sense to me. Intersection crashes can be prevented and defended is the bottom line, and awareness training is clearly where we need to go. Let me ask you this question. We've talked a lot about this as an emerging issue. Defending a carrier, when you talked about the defendability and the culture, are there any specific things that you look for, or is it just your gut feel when you have discussions with the management of trucking companies?
Well, in that process, especially for trying to qualify a new potential customer or an existing customer, we dig into all of their controls. We look at how their accountability, their training, their driver retention. We look at all that stuff. Overall culture is what we look for. We look for customers that where the ownership, the top management supports their safety department. That is huge. And what I'm talking about with support is finding and hiring good safety professionals, and then giving them the tools that they need. And probably the most important tool is driver training. And we love our customers that have Infinity. We've recently started trying to push them in that direction if they don't have a training platform. Just having the ability to provide training to all their drivers, have it documented, quantified, and have it effective is paramount for us.
Perfect. Well, let's go to the next slide. So just kind of a quick summary: preparing, accepting, and understanding the dynamics of an intersection can certainly help. It needs to be a high priority and can certainly help in reducing those crashes. So Infinity has content immediately available. If you aren't a client, you take Jay up on his 30-day offer. We'll give you another offer to do that. You can get some of this content assigned this afternoon: approaching intersections, expecting the unexpected, distracted driving, speeding, and space management. I won't get into detail, but this content is done. It's effective, and would certainly help get the word out there of the dangers at an intersection. So I want to make sure that everybody understands we do have that content immediately available. Let's go to the next slide, please. This is just a quick overview and while we're looking at that slide, this is some of our customers. I wanted to review one of the comments you made about the frequency of truck crashes and the percentage of dollars. That number again was 10% roughly of all truck crashes are intersection related. Now that's the total population, include backing, but 25% of the damages are in dollars. Is that what I understood?
You did. That's our data. I think industry-wide, it's probably close to that. But what I can speak to is over the last 2 years, with over $16 million in incurred losses, 25% of those are related to intersections.
Okay, so get it out there. The timing is right to get it out there to your drivers. It's distractions times 2. It's impairment. It's speeding. It's all of those contributing factors at intersections. So we've got something to for all of that. If you want to get that out, here's a poll question. Just check the yes button right there. We'll leave that up for just a minute.
And to your point, Mark, earlier, I made the comment that historically it's been hard to find training materials that are related to intersections. And, you flashed up a lot of good training modules or training that could be directly related to intersections and stuff that's like distracted driving, speed and space management. Those are all really important. And so that's impressive that you guys have that specific training, because that's another thing that we really like. And I know that this is the case when claims are litigated, is the more specific training you can give with things like that, especially when you're talking about the post-accident piece, the more impressive it is, the more weight it could be given in litigation.
Well, yeah, and the other thing, I would like to think that some of the drivers that are engaged and accept that can also probably provide you some dash cams of some close misses that they've witnessed out there. There's a lot of them that are close misses out there, so it's just crazy some of the stuff that goes on at these intersections.
Absolutely.
I talked to a driver, and he now makes it a habit to count the number of people on their cell phones that he can see from his cab at an intersection. He says it's usually at least 50% of the people immediately go to their cell phone when they get to a red light. So.
Yep. My son, I was talking to my son the other day. I knew he was driving. I wasn't talking. We were texting, and I said, "You're driving that right now, and you're texting me." And he knows how I feel about that. He goes, "I'm at a stoplight," and I said, "Put it away." We know in the industry, we know what happens. He may look up and think the light is turned. He's still thinking about what's going on in his text. It's still a major distraction. I don't care if you're stopped or not.
Yes, and our plaintiff attorney friends know how to get that information, don't they?
They do. And again, that's all discoverable. If it's not caught on camera, I guarantee you they can get your cell phone records, and they know. It's had a great impact on some of those nuclear verdicts. It's the type of thing that makes a claim become a nuclear type of claim.
Right. It takes a minor claim and turns it into a major claim. Now, if you want to get a hold of Dan specifically, do we have another poll question? There's his contact information. Well, I want to summarize that you've certainly convinced me that intersections are dangerous, that we need to inform our driving staff and our non-driving staff of the hazards at intersections. 25% of the dollars, 10% of the crashes. That's pretty straightforward to me. We've got a couple of questions. One of them is, can we get this information forwarded? Which is yes. We will get that to you in just a minute. Dan, I don't have anything else. I certainly appreciate your insight and your dedication to our industry. Before we go off, though, I know we talked a little bit about cameras and what is, from an insurance point of view, how do you view the usage of cameras for commercial trucks?
It's been a game changer. Probably one of the, we talked about the smartphone on the negative side being one of the big, changes in this whole thing. But cameras have been, from a positive standpoint, the biggest game changer we've seen in quite a long time. Again, I mentioned it earlier, we are denying claims on an incredible rate that we used to just have, he said, she said types of claims. And you know how, if you understand how it works, the driver of the big truck is always at fault. That's the way it was historically thought. We had been trying to overcome that, was quite difficult. Nothing is more effective than being able to show that claim, show the driver of the little car coming into your lane, cutting you off. I mean, I look at these things, I look at these cam videos on a monthly basis where we just, our adjusters they just are tickled to death to be able to say, no, we're closed, we're not going to pay a thing on this. So that's been a game changer. Now, the driver-facing cameras, a lot of people were worried about those. We're not finding that has a negative impact at all. It's really helping in driver behavior modification. Drivers they're just less likely to get on their phone or do things that they shouldn't be doing if there's a camera on. But also there's all kinds of new technology, artificial intelligence. There's camera companies out there that are doing extraordinary things. So I'm a big proponent of cameras. I think it's the best thing that's happened to our industry in quite a while.
So when we go back to that defendability cultural issue, if you have a combination of online training with monthly assignments on current emerging issues such as intersections, such as fog, such as adverse weather, in addition to corrective action on triggering events that come from a camera, your defendability index goes up. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. And again, those two things coupled together
Yes.
are just so powerful. And when I talk to a potential customer that has got training that Infinity provides and a camera system, and if they got both driver and rear-facing cameras, drive forward and rear-facing cameras, I mean, I'm just like, I've already pretty much made a decision. It's very important. Those two things together are monumental.
Okay, well, Dan, we want to thank you again for your input, from giving a perspective from the claims and risk insurance point of view to help our listening audience maneuver through the world they're out there in. We do have a final dash cam to just further illustrate. Expect the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen, especially at an intersection. And if it happens, you want to be able to defend yourself. So, Colin, if you want to show us this last dash cam, I'm going to be signing off for today. Thank you again for everybody that listened in. Dan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate everybody listening.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Got to expect the unexpected. Thank you again. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.